Yeah, it sucks. Obviously, just it's not good enough all year. We let streaks drag on. We let times where we couldn't find ways to get wins drag on. You got to find a way to stop the bleeding quick.
The Edmonton Oilers are quietly burning one of their most important relationships, and Connor McDavid is watching every move they make. Here's what's actually going on behind the scenes. Stan Bowman and the front office have already started pursuing Bruce Cassidy, the Stanley Cup winning coach who turned the Vegas Golden Knights into champions. They want him in Edmonton. They want him badly enough that they've reached out to Vegas, asking for permission to sit down with him. But there's a massive problem standing in the way, and it has nothing to do with Cassidy himself. Cassidy is still technically a Golden Knights employee. Vegas fired him without cause, but he's still owed $4.5 million a year with one season left on his deal. That means Vegas holds all the cards right now, and they know it. They haven't said no to Edmonton's request, but they haven't said yes either. They're doing something far more calculated. They're making the Oilers wait. Think about that for a second. Edmonton is sitting there, unable to move forward, unable to make a hire, unable to even have a conversation. All because Vegas is deliberately slow-walking their response. According to Frank Saravalli, sources confirmed that the Golden Knights have not outright denied permission, but have kept Edmonton waiting instead. That's not a coincidence. That's a power move. And why wouldn't Vegas play it that way? They're in the middle of a playoff series against the Utah Mammoth. Their front office has bigger priorities right now than doing Edmonton any favors. The Oilers want urgency. Vegas has zero reason to give it to them. But here's where it gets even messier. Chris Knoblauch is still the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Nobody has told him he's fired. Nobody has handed him a pink slip. He still walks into that building every day, technically as the guy in charge, and yet his own front office has already gone out looking for his replacement. They've already picked up the phone and called another team about another coach while Knoblauch is still employed. That is an absolutely brutal situation to put a coach in. It doesn't matter how you feel about Knoblauch's performance this season. What's happening right now is disrespectful at a professional level, and it reflects poorly on Bowman and the entire front office. You don't shop for a replacement before you've let the current guy go. It creates chaos, it destroys trust inside the locker room, and it sends a message to every future coaching candidate that Edmonton doesn't handle its business with class. Now, some people will argue this is just how the league works, that front offices always think ahead and plan their next move before officially pulling the trigger. And sure, there's some truth to that. But there's a difference between quietly gathering information and actively seeking permission to interview another coach while your current one hasn't been informed he's losing his job. One is strategy. The other is disorganized and unfair. And the Golden Knights are actually using this against Edmonton right now. Think about the argument Vegas can make if they want to stall even longer. If Knoblauch hasn't been formally let go, there's no vacant position. There's no opening. Edmonton is essentially asking Vegas to give them access to a coach for a job that technically doesn't exist yet. Vegas can sit on that logic for as long as it benefits them. It's a double-edged sword that both franchises are now stuck holding. Edmonton can't fully commit to Cassidy without firing Knoblauch. But firing Knoblauch before securing Cassidy means going public with a head coaching vacancy and all the scrutiny that comes with it. Without any guarantee the guy they want actually ends up available. At some point, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman will likely have to step in. There are rules around tampering and around how long a team can hold another organization in limbo during the hiring process. Vegas can't string this out indefinitely, but they can absolutely slow things down enough to make Edmonton sweat, and right now that appears to be exactly what they're doing. Let's talk about why this matters so much beyond just a coaching change. The Oilers aren't operating with unlimited time here. Connor McDavid is one of the greatest players in the history of this sport, and his contract situation is the elephant in every room in that organization. Edmonton has roughly 2 seasons left to win a Stanley Cup before McDavid's future in that city becomes a genuine question. Every decision the front office makes right now is being measured against that reality. They came painfully close last year. They made the Stanley Cup final and came up short. That near miss raised the stakes even higher, because now the window feels undeniable. It's open, but it won't stay open forever. And if the Oilers stumble through another coaching transition without getting the right person in place, without giving McDavid the structure and system he needs to finally get over the line, then they've wasted another year of his prime. Bringing in Cassidy makes sense on paper. He won a championship with a roster built around speed and skill, which sounds an awful lot like what Edmonton is working with. He's proven he can handle a market where expectations are suffocating. He's handled superstar players before. On the surface, the fit is logical. But there's no guarantee Cassidy is even the right answer. And if Edmonton makes a big move, officially parts ways with Knobloch, makes headlines, creates turbulence, and then Cassidy either doesn't come or doesn't work out, the pressure inside that organization reaches a completely different level. You can't keep putting McDavid through front office instability and expect him to stay patient forever. The noise around this situation is already loud enough that there's no real way to walk it back quietly. The writing is on the wall for Knobloch, and everyone in the hockey world can see it. His players can see it. His coaching staff can see it. The league can see it. Edmonton has essentially announced their intentions without formally acting on them, which is the worst of both worlds. All the drama, none of the resolution. So, where does this end up? Most likely, Edmonton officially moves on from Knobloch in the very near future. They don't really have a choice at this point. The relationship is beyond repair even if they wanted to salvage it, which clearly they don't. Then Vegas will eventually grant permission, whether on their own timeline or because the league pushes them to, and Cassidy will sit down with Bowman and the front office. Whether that conversation leads to a deal depends on what Cassidy wants. He took a hit when Vegas let him go. He might want to prove something. He might want a situation where he has a legitimate shot at winning again quickly. Edmonton, for all its dysfunction right now, still has McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, which means they are always going to be a contender on paper. But make no mistake, the way this situation is being handled is not a good look for anyone involved. Not for Bowman, not for the Golden Knights, and not for a franchise that desperately needs to project stability and confidence heading into what might be the most important stretch of McDavid's career in Edmonton. The house always wins in Vegas. Right now, the Golden Knights are making sure of it, and the Oilers are left sitting at the table waiting to be dealt back in.